Welcome back, guys, or welcome if you're a first time viewer. Usually on this podcast, we talk about wrestling, paranormal activity, and shoe releases. If that's something that you're into, subscribe and let's get into it. Here we're starting off Raw again, opening with Roman Reigns without his belt. Again, here we go. Fatu and Roman again, but Fatu opens instead. The Usos come out, and of course, he uses the death grip again 500 times. I don't understand how they're making Roman so weak. And they definitely get their payback. Roman and the Usos definitely whoop that ass. And then Fatu tells him after they leave him in the ring and tell the general manager to fire him, you hear Fatu scream out the words, Roman, tribal combat, which I guess is a match. They've had it twice before, but I feel like, okay, if you are going to take this belt off of Roman Reigns and put it on Fatu at this point, I am not behind that train. He is not ready. I'm just saying, he's a good wrestler, but he's just his promos, it's just not ready. He's not ready as a character. Next, we have Finn and McDonough with a street fight. I'm interested in this rivalry. I joke about McDonough, but he is a crazy good wrestler. He's Finn's protege, and he is just, I joke about him. He is a really good wrestler. And obviously, Finn Balor trained him, and he's been riding with Finn for a long time. During this match, of course, it's never fair when you have the Judgment Day involved. Dom comes out and interferes, but Finn still wins. He pulls off this slick little move when Finn is going to do the 619 and he puts McDonough in on the ropes instead of him. And McDonough gets hit and then he pins him. You know, I'm interested in this rivalry, but this isn't going to keep me to Raw. If we keep this Roman thing going the way it's going and you got them throwing out this move 50,000 times and Roman's dead, I'm just not interested in that. They need a new story other than Bloodline fighting the Bloodline. Bring Solo in. Let's Solo fight. That's more interesting than Fatu. At least Solo's funny on the mic. After that, we have the Seth segment, which he comes out and he wants to address Braun and saying that he wants the main event tonight to be with him and Braun. Of course, it doesn't work out that way. But what are you going to do? And then there's more pesky commercials over and over again. I swear it's oversaturated with commercials. When they come back, it's Sol Ruka challenging Becky for the title at Saturday night's main event. I can be behind it. I'll be behind anybody that fights Becky, but I feel like these rookies need to practice a little bit more. She's used her soul snatcher mat move probably 3 times and it's been botched twice. It's just not a good look. Even though Ruka loses, she does have some playability. Next up is a 3-on-3 match with Americanos, both sets of Americanos. It's actually a tornado style match, which means that there's no tags, and all three can be in the ring at the same time, which is cool. It's old school. I like that. It's interesting. At least they fixed their masks, okay? Those other masks on those fake Grand Americanos were terrible. Terrible. Uh, at least they put the right masks on them and they look good this time, but still not behind them at all. It ends in a disqualification, of course. And then you have, after that, Backroom, where you have LA Knight walks up to the Usos and tells the Usos that, if you are going to keep on this route, we're going to have a problem. If you don't keep on this route, then we're cool. So he walks away, and then we move into the women's tag titles, where Brie and Paige are going to verse the Judgment Day. I mean, of course, they just won the titles. Paige and Brie win. They're not going to be giving up these titles anytime soon. And plus, they had Saturday Night's main event, which I will touch on later, that they had a title match on that too. So they're not going to lose. And then what's going to happen at Saturday Night's main event? So after that, we move on to Oba and his open challenge. And to me, this is very upsetting to me. I just don't like the way they chose to do this, but I do find the humor in it. Oba is in the ring and he's getting ready for the open challenge, and the lights are out, and Brock slides in, and Brock Lesnar is back. He gives Oba probably 7 F5s and rips his pants again, and he's starting to look worse than SpongeBob at this point. Okay, so obviously the story behind this is that Brock did not want to lose to the ring general, and the only way to get out of that is to retire. And then Gunther moves to SmackDown to go after Cody Rhodes, and now Brock comes back. Awesomely played. Congratulations. Great play. But does not mean I like you. Anyway, moving on to the main event, which is Seth versus Theory. You have a bunch of cheating and interfering. Thank God for the Street Profits. They're always there for a good time, and they'll come out and they'll jack people up. I can't get behind them enough because I do think that they have what it takes to be the title holders. And of course, Seth wins, but not without Logan Paul, brass knuckles. And then Braun comes out hitting spears on everyone. It's just so repetitive. I don't it's just repetitive. And that's what is going to drag down your viewership is repetitiveness. It's not if you listen to the crowd ain't even really behind what's going on. So I just it sucks. But anyway, Seth wins and that's the end of Raw. We're going to move on to SmackDown, which I do think SmackDown is starting to redeem themselves. They opened up with Rhea and Charlotte complaining about having to have each other's backs. But it's just a segment. That's what they're working on. I like it. It's a small segment, but it's opening with Rhea, and I think that's a really cool way to start with the women's champion. Next up is Solo and Royce. Royce says, "You interrupted my match. You costed me my title shot." Listen, guys, I have to tell you something. I absolutely love Solo. You give him a mic, and he is comedy gold. Nobody gives him the credit. I think he learned a lot of his mic skills from The Rock. He's got the same kind of little grins, the little eyebrows, the side talking to himself. I really am into him. I like him a lot. So I really hope that they just don't. He don't even need a belt to run the show. He's just that good. Of course, there's a little bit of eye popping when Royce and Solo are talking, but Royce is not going to go with Solo. So that's not going to be an issue. But then we move on to the next match, which is Tala versus Shinsuke, who also, by the way, is a legend. And Shinsuke is probably not too far from retirement. I'm pretty sure he said something when AJ Styles retired. So I'm sure this is his last run, and hopefully it's good. They are playing him up to be a tough ass, which I love. So, we'll see where it goes. At the end, Shinsuke loses, and the MFTs unite and attack and beat him up. And it becomes a 3-on-1 until Priest comes out and interferes and stops the fight. Then we move on to Cody and Nick. And when they're talking, the lights flicker on and off. And kind of weird, but we already know it's probably something with Danhausen. Then Sammy comes in, and Sammy's trying to give Cody a little bit of advice, and Cody says no, thank you, and he walks away. And when he walks away, he starts complaining to Nick, and as he's complaining to Nick, he's whining about how Cody is the golden child, and God forbid he need any advice from anybody else. And as he's talking this shit, guess who comes back in the room? You got it. Cody. He comes back there and he stands behind Sammy, and Sammy all of a sudden, like in a movie, he's behind me, isn't he? And he turns around and Cody goes off. and says, "Well, you must be bored. You want something to do? I'll give you a match." So they end up having a match on SmackDown, which I believe is the main event. Then, you have the MFTs talking to Solo saying, "Solo, you have to absolutely fight Damian Priest by yourself to prove that you're not a joke." Solo did, and once Solo fought him, Priest lost, of course, due to interference. Then, before this match, there was Charlotte and Rhea versus Fatal Influence. Don't really like Fatal Influence. Rhea and Flair are a good combo. I like them. I think it could go far. I think them as a group, her, Alexa, and Charlotte, could tear apart the pavement. I really believe in that. And we're going to see where it goes. And, they're a good team. So then we'll move on to the main event, which is Cody versus Sammy. And of course, Gunther interferes, called it from the get go. It's just an open opportunity. Every time Cody gets in that ring, there's going to be a chance where he's going to get attacked by Gunther because Gunther is a come from behind attacker. So after the Gunther match and Gunther attacks Cody, this has been a running thing where Gunther has attacked and won and made Cody basically tap. So my prediction is that every time this happens, you're telling us Cody's gonna win. Cody's gonna win at Clash of Italy because you have literally made him job out every night, and that's where that's gonna go. And the same thing with Rhea. Rhea lost with against Jade, and I believe that that is a foretelling at Clash of Italy. She's obviously going to retain because she just won the title. So, you see these things and they're little Easter eggs. They're little tips because you're already going to be able to foretell what's going on with the way their program is. There's a lot of rumors out there that Fatu is going to take the belt off of Roman. There's lots of rumors out there that Gunther is going to take the belt off of Cody. I don't foresee any of that happening. I don't think Fatu's ready. I don't think management thinks Fatu's ready. I think this is just another step. Roman didn't come back to beat CM Punk to just be dismissed again. Okay, so I just don't buy any of that. Moving on to Saturday's main event, it was okay. It was better because it was on Peacock. Less commercials, better backstories. We had no title changes. So we had Rhea, Alexa, and Charlotte fighting Jade and her two girls. And I, I don't really have too much interest in Jade and her two woman gang, because it's just not. She doesn't have any mic skills. She just does not push that mic very well. The match was cute. Alexa and Rhea and Charlotte had some moments. It was cute, but in the end, Rhea got pinned, and that just is a foretelling. Next, we have the women's tag team title match, which is Brie, Bella, and Paige against Nia Jax and Lash Legend. Now, I have mixed feelings about this, but I don't think the crowd wants to see Lash Legend and Nia Jax have the belts. But also, here we have another conundrum. Paige and Brie just won these belts. They're not going to lose it. I talked about it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. They don't usually put belts on people and take them right off unless they're a joke. Unless her name is Drew McIntyre or Sami Zayn. Okay, those are the only two people that they really do it to. So, I mean, that's just how it is. Uh, but Brie and Paige win. They won in a very sneaky, kind of passable way with the crowd, because Paige pinned Nia, and when she had her pinned, Brie put her foot in the back of Paige to give her more support so she couldn't kick out, which was a little sneaky, but a little cool. Then, after that, there was the Vision facing the Street Profits, which all in all was a really good match. And I'm not talking about on the point of Vision. I'm talking on the side of the Street Profits. They were really good. They kept everybody at bay. There was a point where Braun Breaker comes out and he comes zigzagging and doing his run to come around the ring to go spear someone. And one of the Street Profits moves out of the way and the other one pushes him over the announce table under it and jacks him up. So he's jacked. So I really thought that the Street Profits were going to pull off a win here. I was hoping and praying, but it just didn't. They didn't do it, and they didn't pull the trigger on it yet. But I think that's coming. So we're just going to have to see what happens. Clash of Italy should not be called Clash of Italy. I think it should be called Clash of the Rematches because every match at Clash of Italy is a rematch. So we will have to see how that goes, but I'm telling you, Cody's not losing his belt. Roman Reigns is not losing his belt. Rhea Ripley's not losing her belt. And whatever other matches are going to be there's very slim chances that anybody's going to lose the belt because we all have new title holders. So, the Brock versus Oba, I really don't know where that's going to go because I thought they were going to push Oba hard and they really didn't. So we're going to have to just follow that one and see how that one goes. And a little side note, I watch AAA, which I'm pretty into, the Luchador Wrestling. It's on YouTube on Saturdays at 10 o'clock. If you have a chance to catch it, it's quite interesting. A lot of high flyers, a lot of Javon-esque stuff that goes on in there, so I really like it. And we found out that in the beginning of the program that they were going to bring in a new general manager. Well, unfortunately for Dirty Dominic Mysterio, it is his father, Rey Mysterio. So he's the general manager of AAA, and I'm telling you guys, if you know anything about Ray, you might want to tune into this on YouTube and get into it because it looks like it's going to be pretty good. It's been pretty good so far with no general manager. So we got a general manager at hand now, and he's a legend, and he's a luchador. The ceiling, there is no ceiling for him to stop at. So I can't wait for that. Now we're going to move on to a subject that has hit every news platform, and everybody pulled the trigger and kind of passed judgment on Ludwig Kaiser. If you guys have not heard, Ludwig Kaiser got arrested for an assault that happened back in April. Apparently, he was in an elevator. This is per the person who got assaulted. His story is that he was in the elevator and Ludwig Kaiser and his girlfriend were intoxicated and they were making out like crazy and it was inappropriate. So when he got off the elevator, he looked at Kaiser and said, "Do you mind, sir? Can you be more appropriate?" And apparently, Ludwig Kaiser turned into the Incredible Hulk and just decided to beat the crap out of this guy for no reason. Let's get to the truth of it, okay? The true story is that Ludwig Kaiser should be commended on his behavior, and the reason why he did what he did was a very good reason. I'm going to speak directly from what JBL said. JBL says, quote from unquote, that this wrestler is not a guy who goes up and just starts punching people for no reason. If he punched this guy in the face, there had to be a good reason. JBL was behind him 100%. Without a doubt, he said people like this are around the wrestling people all their lives. Everybody deals with it. There's weirdos that try and start stuff. And this is the case. Ludwig Kaiser didn't go off half cocked and just start beating this guy up because the guy said, "Could you have some manners?" Apparently, he said, "Could you have some goddamn manners? And if you don't, I'm going to get your girlfriend deported." Well, in any case, I would definitely commend him for smacking that guy in the mouth because you shouldn't be saying that. If they're kissing in the elevator, so what? JBL said the same thing. So what? Okay? Well, you jealous because you don't have someone to kiss? It's usually the case. Usually it's some pretty Ricky who has penny loafers on and a t-shirt with a suit coat. Okay? And thinks he's Don Johnson or somebody that lives in Miami. So I just feel like the whole situation was blown out of proportion. And of course, when Ludwig Kaiser comes back, everybody cheers for him when he's a Grand Americano, and he starts to get a little teared up because he just went through hell for this whole situation. And he comes to find out that no one passed judgment on him in Mexico, and everybody loves him. So, hats off. Good moment. All right, now we're going to move on to the paranormal section where we usually talk about paranormal stuff, and if it's usually about me and my childhood. So, this story comes from when I was about 8 years old and I lived in Detroit. And I used to go downstairs and play. It wasn't like a great basement, it was all tile. We had a bar down there, but it was basically unfinished. The ceiling was unfinished, and it was just like cinder block painted walls. We had a bathroom down there and a fruit cellar, and my mom kept all of her crochet stuff down there. So I would go down there and play with my G.I. Joe, Transformers, spread them all over the floor, and I'd be down there for hours, my Legos. So this one particular time I was downstairs, and I think this is probably one of my first paranormal incidences inside the house that I remember. I know I've had several outside in my backyard and, things looking in my house, but I think this is the first one that I experienced that was in my house. So I was downstairs and I was playing, and my mom was upstairs in the living room, and I was doing what boys do, playing with their toys, and I had heard a whisper. I couldn't make out what it said, I just heard someone whispering. Well, I kind of thought it was maybe my mom or my sister in the living room because we were, where the basement is at. I'm underneath the living room. So I thought maybe it was a TV, maybe it was my mom. So I just kept on playing. Well, about 5 to 10 minutes later, I heard a door creak open. Now, there was only really two doors down there, and that was the door to the bathroom and the door to the fruit cellar. The basement didn't have any door to it, it was just a walk downstairs kind of thing. And the cabinets would not make this kind of noise. So, when I heard the noise, I kind of like looked over to see if I could see what it was, and I looked around the stairs because the stairs were in the middle of the basement, and the fruit cellar was in the stairs. So I kind of looked, and I saw the bathroom door going back and forth like this a little bit, just a little bit, as if wind was blowing it back and forth. And I kind of just like shucked it off as that was what it was. Is it's just wind, maybe. I don't know. I was 8 years old. I was young. So I really didn't really think too much of it. Well, as I kept on playing, whatever it was didn't like being ignored. So it did it again, but this time it did it to the fruit cellar door because I actually got up and I remember walking to the door and seeing this. Well, at some point, I had turned around and something had grabbed my t shirt and pulled my t shirt to a point where, just pulled it real quick. I didn't fall on the ground or nothing like that kind of pull, but like a flicker pull, like, just a pulling the shirt. And I freaked out. I remember leaving my toys downstairs and I ran upstairs and ran into my bedroom. Shortly after, my mom followed me and my mom came in the bedroom and was like, "What happened? Why did you run in here and close your door?" I went downstairs and it's a mess still. And I said, I know. I got scared. And being a little kid, I was scared a lot, but I'm pretty sure I was scared a lot because I had a lot of paranormal activity in that neighborhood and in that house. So I'm pretty sure that's why I was such a scaredy cat. But nonetheless, I went back down there a couple days later and cleaned up my toys, and I didn't really hang out down there again for a while. But it was a very scary situation from when I was a kid. All right, now we're moving on to the shoe releases. This is the section where we talk about what shoes are going to be released. Sometimes I'll show you the shoes that I've scored. Sometimes we'll talk about what is wrong with the shoe releasing right now. But for right now, we're going to talk about the shoe releases. And on May 29th, we have the Air Foam Posit Pros Candy Apple Red. I I don't think these are going to sell out. None of these foam posits have sold out. There are a set of foam posits that I think will sell out when they come, but I don't think these candy apple red ones are the ones that could do it. And they come out on May 29th. Then we have, of course, we have the Toro Bravo Air Jordan 4s, which they come out May 30th. Do I think these are going to be in stock? Hell no. These things are fire. I think they're going to be gone before you could even blink. That situation happened with the Brazils. The Brazils came out, gone. They're just fast. So we're gonna have to see how that works out. I don't think I'm scoring any of these that I'm talking about. So um, on June 2nd, we have the College Gray and Cavestone Dunk Lows. Um, I'm not really into the dunks. I think they're just a cheaper version of the Jordan lows and Jordan mids, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't think they're that comfortable. Then on June 2nd, we have the Air Max iShod Premiums, which they're a cool looking shoe, but they're super narrow. And I have no like for narrow shoes. They're an attractive looking shoe, but it's too narrow. I saw them in person before, and I was like, nope, no, thank you. Now here comes a cool little thing, and I'm excited about. Probably won't get them, but this is a cool gimmick. Book Two is releasing their McDonald's shoe, and it's Sandrift and Teal Nebula. I think these are going to be hot. I think these are going to be gone. They're only $155, and those come out on June 2nd. Next are the Air Foamposite ones, which will sell out. They are the white and black with the Oriental paint on them. And I firmly believe that these all over graphic Air Foamposites are going to be gone before you could even blink. It's just how fast these things go. Then on June 5th, we have the Air Liquid Max. And those are crimson red and bright red. Now, we're going to have to see where this goes. I like this shoe. It's a narrow kind of shoe, so it's more just for exercising and running. But it's a good looking shoe. And that comes out on June 5th. My next favorite is the Air Jordan Retro Low 1 OG. Phantom and Pine Green. That comes out on June 6th, and I'm kind of excited for it. They're $150. I probably won't get them. But I'm holding myself off for the bigger releases. These kind of shoes will sit on the rack. They won't sell out. Every pair of these that they have come out with the OGs have been available. So if you're interested in any of the OGs, go check them out at your local shoe store. That is what we have so far. And I'm going to tell you, I'm okay with it. I like some of the releases and I don't like some of the releases. But these shoes, a lot of people say they come out so fast and they hit so hard and then they're gone. The Air Jordan Retro Bloodlines 12s came out and they were sold out fast. But the Air Max DTs did not sell out and they were sitting on the shelves at Foot Lockers all around. So, it's just the pick you have to think about. The Brazils, dude, those guys were gone so fast that you couldn't even blink. Okay? So it's just we gotta see what shoes. Usually threes like that are hot and they're just gone. Threes and fours, they're just gone. People, those are the retro shoes. Those are the ones that everybody loves, those two styles. And I'm sorry, they're hot. They're going to be gone. If you want some, you better bid on them because if not, you're not going to get some. So, with that, it's the end of the podcast. I hope you guys found it interesting. Like, subscribe, put a tooth in the comments. Heck, even comment with something. I'm always here to listen. Till next time.